Hola, yo soy Jorge Roy, bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Camino a los Oscars. Hoy vamos a hablar sobre El Brutalista, una película que tiene 10 nominaciones a los premios Oscars y que nos cuenta la historia de un inmigrante, sobreviviente de la Segunda Guerra Mundial, que llega a los Estados Unidos tratando de empezar una nueva vida y de reunirse con su familia. Este episodio es presentado por En Ridery movemos a los venezolanos. Descarga la app y vive tu ciudad a tu ritmo. Lo bueno es que este señor es un arquitecto muy renombrado en Europa e intenta reconstruir su carrera en los Estados Unidos a través del movimiento del brutalismo, que como ya sabrán, mezcla el concreto, las cosas duras para tratar de darle un sentido artístico a los materiales más robustos como el concreto. Esta película sin duda está llena de contrastes y contradicciones, pero es un viaje épico que dura casi 4 horas y tiene hasta un intermedio. El elenco de esta película ha sido aclamado en todas las premiaciones más importantes. Vamos a empezar conociendo a sus dos actores de reparto. Guy Pearce y Felicity Jones, ambos están nominados en sus categorías y dejemos que ellos nos cuenten su experiencia trabajando en esta película. Hi Guy, how are you?
Hi, good mate. How are you?
Really excited to be talking with you and about this amazing film. It's really hard to top this film. It's an incredible journey that takes the audience from the beginning till the end. And I want to know, how was your first conversation with Brady Corvette when he was telling you about this film? Could you picture it all in your head, all the things that were going to happen?
Well, it's hard to really remember what my first conversations were with him, to be honest. I read the script before I spoke with him.
Mhm.
I got sent it, and I can't remember if I saw one of his other films before getting to talk to him or after. But I know that he was very encouraging about the idea of me playing the role, and it was pretty clear to me. I suppose I just wanted to be sure that what I was understanding of this character is what he was presenting in the script, which was pretty clear anyway, to be honest. So there was no real questions about it. Um, and Brady's someone who has a lovely, relaxed quality. I do remember that he wanted to know if I wanted to kind of create my own version of Van Buren.
Mhm.
But I didn't feel I needed to. I felt that it was all very, Van Buren was presented really so brilliantly on the page that yeah, there was no need to sort of invent anything myself because he'd done such a good job of writing. I mean, he'd spent, I think, about 7 years with
Mhm.
his wife Mona putting this film together.
And Guy, now the film has been screened for a lot of critics and festivals, but now it's going to face the audience, global audiences. What do you expect them to take about this film?
Well, I'm really curious whether, obviously the film's very long, it's 3.5 hours, and it has an intermission. And I actually think that in this day and age when people are streaming their own favorite shows and they'll sit there for 7 hours and watch something, that I don't think sitting there for 3.5 hours will actually be a sort of a labor for them. I think, in fact, to go back to the cinema and sit in a cinema and watch a 70 mil print with an intermission will enable people to sort of just be taken back to sort of another time in film.
What do you think? It's unusual, even for you.
So I want to know, how was your experience working with Brady Corvette and shaping his unique vision for this film and shaping your character as well, working alongside him?
Well, Brady and we had known each other from our 20s and we'd known each other socially. And I'd always been intrigued by this actor who seemed to only work with the greatest auteurs in the world. If you look at his CV
Yeah.
when he was an actor. So I thought, wow, there's something interesting going on with this person. And then obviously he started making films himself. So all of that experience was just he was studying. And I knew that he would do something interesting. I didn't, quite realize quite how monumental it would be and how wonderfully ambitious it was. But I think the fact that he'd been so careful, he'd just done 2 films, and he has such an ideological agenda, but also at the same time, he's makes things that are fun and entertaining and punky.
And this film touches a lot of themes, love, lost, and the immigrant experience. I want to know, how's your personal connection to this story, because these characters go through a lot through this in this life, and I want to know what part of you connected first to this story.
There was something that, you know, I found very moving when I read the script, was the intensity of the struggle for Laszlo and Elizabeth to stay committed to their love. You know that they love each other, but that's trying to actually preserve that love and follow it through to the end. You realize how difficult that is, and how for these characters to maintain their principles and their ethics and balance that with the need for economic survival. And I thought there was a very interesting dialogue that was in that.
Pero sin duda quien se ha llevado los mayores elogios en esta cinta es su director Brady Corbett y también su protagonista Adrian Brody, quien regresa a la conversación de los premios Oscars después de haber arrasado con su interpretación en El pianista. Vuelve con un nuevo personaje que nos muestra otras facetas de lo gran actor que es. Vamos a dejar que ellos dos nos cuenten su experiencia en El Brutalista. Hi Brady, how are you?
I'm good, Jorge. How are you?
Great, really excited to be talking with you, and I want to congratulate you on this amazing film. It's a great of a journey that you took us in this film. So I want to know, what was the starting point for you, your main inspiration to start writing this story?
I had read a book called Architecture in Uniform that was written by Jean-Louis Cohen, that was about post-war architecture and post-war psychology and how the two were linked. I had also read an extraordinary small book from a small print press called Marcel Breuer and a Committee of 12 Build a Church. And it was a memoir that a monk had written about his time observing Breuer at work, and Breuer was a Hungarian Jew working in a Christian environment. And the memoir sort of recounts a lot of the difficulties that Marcel faced in trying to bring this project to life. And so, those were sort of the seeds of the idea. And then it sort of snowballed, as my wife and I did more and more research, and through our conversations with architectural scholars, like Jean-Louis, who wrote that book. I actually sat down with him and he consulted on the film. He sadly passed away last year, but he had a real impact on the final product. And so, I had wanted to do a film on architecture for many years. And this is the way that I sort of found a way into it.
And how was the process on finding the right actor to play Laszlo's, and how did you collaborate with Adrian?
I was very lucky that Adrian said yes, because he sort of was the guy.
Okay.
I mean, he is Hungarian, as is well publicized now, but his mother fled Hungary in the 1950s during the revolution. He has a personal history which is very close to that of this character. I hoped that he would, read it and like it, and he did. And we met and we really connected. And finally, kind of schedules worked out and made it possible for us to do it together. I mean, honestly, it took such a long time to get this entire ensemble, together and in the same space to make the movie, because we had initially tried to make the film during COVID, and because of the massive ensemble and the buffers that the insurance companies needed between projects, it was like whack-a-mole. Like one person would become available and then suddenly 10 other people couldn't make it. And so it was just a long process, and the world had to sort of, find its equilibrium in order for us to finally have a chance to make it.
I promise.
First, I want to congratulate you on the film. It's incredible. This is one incredible journey that we get to experience on this film. So I want to know, for you as an actor, how did you approach the challenge of showing that many aspects of one character? Because we get to see his vulnerability, his ambition, a lot of aspects about Laszlo.
Yeah, it's what I yearn for. It's not the challenge. It's the challenge is to not get roles where the nuances and complexity and ability to express the soul and flaws and frailty of a human being in a character. The inability of having the space or the writing or the director's vision to be intimate with that, and that's much more difficult and frustrating for me. This is a blessing, and what I yearn to do is to delve into all the things in life that I see and that are frustrating to me and that are unique to the struggle of individuals in this life, and to shape and form and create a whole character that speaks to those truths that are relatable and that feel personal and honest, and allow me to actually experience a level of that in the portrayal. And this really was so gratifying, and it's very evident in the film. It's very evident in the storytelling. Also, it was an opportunity to honor my own ancestral struggle of my mother and my grandparents fleeing Hungary in 1956 during the revolution and losing their home and coming to America, and her journey as an artist, photographer, and the hardship of that and how that has affected her work. So there's so many parallels for me that spoke to me and that felt a gift to be able to honor and share with the world.
And completely agree with you that all of that shows on the screen. I wanted to ask you a lot of things more, but I know I have my time limited, so I want to congratulate you again for you and the team, because this film is incredible.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Sin duda, una de las películas más épicas que vamos a ver este año. Sus 4 horas de duración están más que justificadas. Eso sí, tiene un intermedio, así que no se preocupen. Vale la pena verla y disfrutarla en la pantalla más grande que puedan conseguir, porque tiene 10 nominaciones y estoy seguro que va a ser una de las grandes ganadoras en la noche de los Oscars. Nos vemos en un próximo capítulo de Camino a los Oscars.